BIM is landed on Blender. This is an exciting news because it means that you can start creating and edit your own BIM documents and files using Blender, so without any subscription fees or any other editing tool for BIM. Bonsai is a really powerful extension for Blender that allow you to do a lot of BIM stuff. It used to be called BlenderBIM, but now it's an extension, so it means that you can install just one click, and I made already a video showing how to do the installation of Blender and Bonsai in only a few clicks. So in this video, instead we are gonna discover together how we can start creating a building from scratch using BIM in Blender. Hello everyone, I'm Professor Rino and I'm a BIM enthusiast. I've been using and teaching BIM since 2016, so I have a lot of experience in using this tool to create a lot of cool stuff, including developing different workflows that can help fire protection engineering or other visualization of BIM for other purposes like serious game, training, and a lot of more cool stuff. You just need to go and check my latest research on this. If you never use BIM and you're wondering what is BIM, it stands for Building Information Modeling. So the main difference between a 3D model and BIM is that the BIM has much more information associated to each item that you will find in a BIM document. If we start embracing BIM, you will see this image from the BIM Handbook 3rd edition that actually shows us that BIM overall, and in this case you can see that there is much more than the simple geometry in terms of parameter. If we see this website, for instance, it gives us a beautiful overview of what it means to have a parametric model. So in this case, you can see a parametric model can be really useful to reshape and rescale and change the full geometry of an element if it has been defined in a parametric way. But it has much more information that can be modified when we use building information modeling. Back in the day, I was telling my student that OpenBIM was mostly to share information and exchange information with others. So it was basically the equivalent of using a Word to edit a document and then share a PDF with the rest of our colleagues. We all know that we are going to be capable to open a PDF using any free software. Now, you can of course modify PDF, but good luck doing it if you want to do a lot of change. It's going to be a really pain in your neck. The software that I'm really excited to talk about today, it's called Bonsai. The good news about Bonsai is that it's allowing you to use OpenBIM to actually create a BIM documentation from scratch. Yes, that's right. That's the first time actually that I've been using IFC to edit any BIM file from scratch, and in this video we are gonna discover how we can easily do it together. So let's go on the Blender and let's learn together how we can use Bonsai to create our first building. So we are back in Blender. You can see that Bonsai has been installed because we have the BIM section here. If you're not sure if it's activated, you can always go to Edit, Preference, and Add-ons. You can see that in my case, Bonsai is working. So let's go and close this part and start creating our first building. So the first things that I'm gonna do is to select whatever is in the scene. You can see that we have a camera, cube, and light. To select everything, we need to press A and then delete everything. So the first things to do to create easy file is to go here. You can see that we have the possibility to change IFC. I'm gonna leave it to IFC4, and I'm gonna use the metric system because I don't know much about Imperial and I'm a rebel like in Star Wars. So may the beam be with you. So the next things that I'm gonna do is to change the template. This is a really important step. I'm gonna start using the demo template IFC4, and it's gonna give us a lot of IFC objects that we can use straight away to edit our building right here in the scene and create project. And you can see that there are a lot of stuff that has been loaded in our project are basically the IFC element that we are gonna use later on. So they are hiding behind the scene, but we are gonna be capable to use it in few clicks. So you can see, for instance, there is a door, there are columns, there are walls. So let's go and have a look what we can do to use them together. The other things that I will really suggest you to do before starting, otherwise it's not gonna work. I tried it before, especially if you use a PC like me with a limited keyboards. So you need to go here in Edit, Preference, then you go to Inputs, and then you emulate your numpad. It's not on my keyboards. If you have it on your keyboards, you're not gonna have any issues. This is important because now, for instance, if I press 7, I can have a visualization from the top, and I can decide to change the visualization just pressing 1, 3, and 7. So the first things that we are gonna do to create our new model is to create some walls. So we are gonna go here, walls, and if you go up here, you will see the possibility to select between different walls. So here, for instance, I'm gonna select wall 300, then close this part. We are already on the top view. I'm gonna then press either Shift A or press here Add. And now you will see that you have the possibility to draw with a polyline a wall. So I'm gonna set up, for instance, 10 meters, press Enter. Then I'm gonna go on the Y axis and press, for instance, 5 meters. And now we need to close this wall. So you can either keep pressing 10. Another key to lock this polyline is just to press X. So you can see that now it's only allow us to go back and forward, and I'm gonna press here on the origin. So you can see that now we are basically really well aligned. And the other things that you can do is either press X now so we can shift and close it, or another shortcut is to press Shift C. That means basically close. And you can see that now we have our external wall. I'm gonna press Enter, and bam, they're already there in our scene. So what we can do now, for instance, if we wanna change and we forgot that we didn't want a height of 3 meters, so we can go here, for instance, press 2. Nothing's gonna happen because you need to refresh, and you will see that the height of the wall has been modified. So we are starting using some of the parameters available in Bonsai. So I'm gonna bring it back, Ctrl Z, and I'm gonna actually show you that you have the possibility to have some other Bonsai tabs. If you go to Tools, you can see that there is a lot more that you can start exploring. Please follow the documentation because you might get lost quite easily. To close this tab again, we press just N. So let's go back to the top view of this building and add something more. If we wanna move in different part of the visualization, you press just Shift and the central button of the mouse. For instance, if we wanna create an interior wall, we need to go back to Walls and select 100mm wall, close, and either press Add, or as I mentioned, the other shortcut is Shift A. So let's start creating an interior wall where we wanna have a bathroom. So I'm gonna select randomly here, and then I'm gonna show you how we can shift the wall to the exact location. I want this wall to be 3 meters. I'm gonna press Enter, and then I wanna close it here. But before closing it, let's see how we can shift the wall to the location we want. So the first thing I'm gonna do is press Enter to create the wall. You can see the wall, it's in the random location that I was mentioning before. Let's press 7. The way to do it is by grabbing the object. So we need just to press G, and you can see that now we have the possibility to shift this BIM wall wherever we want. If we want to just move it on the X-axis direction, we need just to press X, and you will see that it's gonna be blocked only in the X direction. So I'm gonna put it right here, close to the interior wall. Then I'm gonna press G again, and in this case I'm gonna press X, and I'm gonna set the location that I wanted originally, for instance 2.5 meters. So now we have exactly a wall at 2.5 meters from the external wall. So now we can finish by go and creating the final partition here to close this room. So let's go back here, wall, it's 100 selected, press Add and select the central point of this wall. And now if we don't want to have any issues here in closing the wall, we press X again, and now we have the possibility to close this room. So we have already done a lot of work. You can see that the partition is not actually reaching the top like the external wall because they were only 2 meters. Don't worry, we can select them, go here and set 3 meters and refresh, and everything is done in a parametric way. So let's go to the top view. Of course, we want to have some doors and windows for this space. Let's go and have a look how we can add them. So of course we go to door. Let's unselect the object. Let's go to door. And you'll see that the only door that is loaded here, it's a single one. Don't be disappointed. Soon you will see how you can easily modify it using the parametric feature of Bonsai. And it's going to be the same for the windows. So let's start with the simple door. And later we will see how to modify them. We need to go and select it inside. We need to click here, select it, close. Then press add, and you'll see that you have the possibility to put the door inside for the inside walls or for the exterior wall. I'm gonna randomly locate it and then show you how to put it to the exact location. For instance, I'm gonna put one door here and press ESC, and you'll see that the door is there. So now let's assume we want to shift this door, let's say 4 meters from this edge. So let's go back to the top view and select the door here. So I'm gonna use once again G to say grab and put it at the really end of the wall. You can see that there is something odd happening. Don't get scared, it's all normal. Now I'm gonna press G again and move it 3 meters from this edge and press enter. You can see that the movement has been working, but the opening is not there inside the wall. You need just to press Shift G and the magic is done. So you can see that now we have a nice door in the location that we want. And if you want to create a new door for the interior part of the house, of course, we need to follow the same steps. So let's go to door, select this door, and press add. And for instance, in my case, I'm gonna locate it. Let's put it on this wall. So now you can see that we have also a door inside, and let's press ESC. The other things that I'm gonna do is to create windows. You need to click and select door, and then you go to windows. And also in this case, as I mentioned before, we have only one single IFC windows, but we can easily modify later in few steps. So to add the windows, let's go 7, and you can see here this is the offset from the bottom of the wall, and let's press add, and now we have the possibility to add a couple of windows here, here, and here. Let's press ESC, and if we go in the 3D view, you can see that the windows have been located where we wanted. So now that the windows are there as before, we can move them around. So let's go and see how we can move this window, for instance 6 meters from this edge of the wall. So let's go to 7, let's press grab and put it at the edge of this wall. G, let's move it only on the X and put it at the beginning of this wall. Now we press grab again and we press X. So we are gonna shift only on this direction and press 6. And as we did before for the door, we need to press Shift G, and the location of the new door of the new windows is changed. So you can repeat this for all the other elements that you wanna relocate, especially door and window. What if we wanna change the parameters of the door? So the beautiful thing is that you have the possibility to change this parameter by selecting the door and going to geometry and material up here. Let's close all this tab and leave the only part that we are gonna use. So we are gonna go to parametric geometry, door, and you'll see no door found. You can press on the plus here, and you'll see that now we are gonna create a parametric different version of this door. The only things that it looks a bit buggy here in Blender is that you lose all the material that were associated in Blender visualization, but I'll show you later how you can quickly put them back. And if we go here in door parameter, you can see that you can start changing all the dimension of these door classes. So in this case, whatever we apply for this door, because they belong to the same IFC door classes, is gonna be modified for both of them. For instance, if we make this door 1.2 wide and then we do finish edit, you'll see that the change has been applied for both of them. What if we want to have a different door here? Don't worry, I have the solution for you. We need to go and select door again, and we go in this section again. You can see here that you can go and duplicate. So here we can start calling this IFC new class of door type 2, and let's go and use type 2 door. So I'm gonna make sure that type 2 is selected here, then I'm gonna do add and add a new door here, just in a random position. Let's press X, and now let's go and see what happens if we change the parameter of this class 2 door. So we need to go here in door again, we need to go to geometry and materials, parametric geometry, doors, and we apply door parameters here. And in this case, we are gonna go and change the parameter here. I'm gonna put it 0.8, really narrow door, and finish edit. And in this case, you can see that the change that we apply to this IFC door class 2, it doesn't affect this other class. So the other things that you can quickly do to change the visualization of this door, I found gray on gray pretty annoying, to be honest. I'm gonna show you my personal trick. You can basically go here and go to the material property in Blender of this element. So you can see that now nothing is there. If we go here, you can see that we have the material that were used for the door. So we can add frame, and you can see all of a sudden the door is gonna be changing color. So if we wanna create a completely new material for this door, we can go here and press duplicate. Now we have a completely brand new material. So if we start changing this color here, it's not gonna affect this other frame here. And if we go, for instance, here in this element, we can go and check which brown we want and make it, for instance, lighter. And you can see, because we changed the material for this class, it has been applied to this door, but not to this door here. So what if we want to have a different panels and we want to start creating more fancy visualization for our IFC elements? We can definitely do it. Let's add a new material here and select, for instance, frame 1 and duplicate it, so it's gonna become frame 2. And if you want, you can call it panel. So now what we can do is to change, for instance, this color to a much wider version. Make sure that the door is selected, then we go to edit mode and press on select faces, and then we start selecting the faces we want to change color from both sides. Then we go to panel 1 and assign, and there you are. Now you have a better visualization of the door. And of course, if you don't like this color, you want a bit more gray, you can go and modify it, and so on. So the final things that we need to add here is a slab for the floor. So let's go to 7 and see how we can add a slab. Let's go back to object mode and select slab tool. So in this case it's selected. I'm gonna go and see what are the options here. There is only the 200, 300 slab. As I mentioned before, you can duplicate it and then later go and change the features of this slab and make it less thicker depending on what are your needs. So you're gonna end up using, once again, the parametric feature of Blender. So I'm gonna select 201 and now press Shift A. And now we have the possibility to use a polyline to define the perimeter of our slab. So I've already done a relatively good job. I'm gonna press enter, and you can see that now the slab is here. And as before, we can select it and apply completely different material if you wanna have a visualization that looks a bit prettier. Now let's go back to scene here so we can see the BIM property of this slab. So if we go to material, style, you will see all the features of this slab, and especially in object materials, if you want to change the thickness, you need to press this pencil key and then go and change right here the thickness of the slab. I'm pretty happy with it as it is. The next step for us will be to quickly see how we can do a visualization of floor plan of this small project. So what we can do is to go here in drawings. So you can see that the drawing, that there is nothing here. So you can see here that it's complaining because the project has not been saved. Of course, we can do it in a few clicks. You go to file and go to save IFC project, or just press Ctrl S and save your file. So I'm gonna save my file in one of my folders dedicated to Bonsai and call it test IFC. Now we are back, and you can see that now we have the possibility to create our first drawing. So I want to have a plan view. You can see now there are 0 of them. So I'm gonna go to plan and then use as a reference point mass story. So it's gonna do a cut, I guess, 1 meter from the floor, and press plus. So you can see now that we have been adding a new drawing here. If we want to see what's happening, we need to press on this camera view here. And you can see here the property of this drawing. It's pretty big, it's 50 meter by 50. So definitely too big for us. I'm gonna rescale it, put it 10. Probably it's not good size. Let's put 20 in this direction and try to put 10 in this other direction. We need to change the location. So we select it and press G, and we can center the house, and then we can either use some specific measurement by using X and move it in one direction, Y or the other direction. So it's really up to you. I just move it in one of the two directions. I'm gonna select it again, press G and select a relatively good center location. So let's see how this plan look like. So to create a drawing, we need to have the plan selected. Then we go to create drawing and visualize the drawing. So you can see that we can start creating a really nice visualization of our floor. What if we want to change the orientation of this door? I'm gonna quickly show you how to do it. I'm gonna select this door. I'm gonna press here to open the tabs of Bonsai, and you can see here you have the possibility to flip, but now you can see that the door is not really well defined parametrically. It has been changing the position. Don't worry, we can press G and move the door in the position that we wanted. So let's press now Y to move it on the Y location, and it's not doing a great job because it's changing the part where I'm selecting. So let's zoom in and show you the trick in this case. So G again, then B, so you can select the base where you're gonna apply the movement. Then we are gonna press once again Y, and then let's say that we want it in the really center of this wall. So the door has been changed. If we go in the geometry, we are not gonna see the doors, but we can see that the opening is as we wanted. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you want to be notified for the next video on Bonsai, BIM or any other exciting digital tool, you really want to subscribe to this channel, press the bell so you will get notification. And as always, thank you for supporting this channel, and see you to the next one. Bye!